Good morning. Plato's Gorgias, day 10. There's still many to go. Clearly, Socrates speaks. Now, what art rids us of poverty? Is it not the art of making money? Yes. And what art frees us from sickness? Is it not medicine? It must be. And what art from vice and injustice? If this is not so clear to you, look at it like this. Where and to whom do we take the sick in body? To the doctor, Socrates. And the unjust and intemperate? To the judges, do you mean? To suffer punishment? Yes. And do not those who punish rightly do so with the aid of a certain justice? Obviously. Then making money rids us of poverty, medicine of sickness, and justice of intemperance and injustice. Evidently. Then of these, which is the finest? Of which do you mean? Of money-making, medicine, and justice? Justice is far superior, Socrates. Then if finest, must it not produce either the greatest pleasure or the greatest profit, or both? Yes. Is medical regimen a pleasant thing, and do patients enjoy it? Not in my opinion. But it is beneficial, is it not? Yes. For the patient is freed from a great evil, so that it is profitable to submit to the pain and recover health. Of course. And would a man be happiest about his bodily state if he submitted to healing, or if he were never sick at all? Obviously, if he were never sick at all. For happiness, Socrates speaks, for happiness, after all, it seems, consists not in a release from evil, but in never having contracted it. That is so. Again, of the two who suffer evil either in body or in soul, which is the more wretched, the man who submits to treatment and gets rid of the evil, or he who is not treated but still retains it? Just coming back to the previous point, I was actually talking to a friend yesterday. She's a Jungian therapist, and how prevention is always better than cure. But people tend to reach out to, e.g., therapist only when shit hit the fan. But happiness, it seems, consists not in release from evil, but in never having contracted it. Skipping a few lines. Polus. No, let me... So Socrates asks, which is the more wretched, the man who submits to treatment and gets rid of the evil, or he who is not treated but still retains it? Polus. Evidently the most wretched is the man who is not treated. And was not punishment admitted to be a release from the greatest of evils, namely wickedness? It was. Yes, because a just penalty disciplines us and makes us more just and cures us of evil. I agree. Then the happiest of men is he who has no evil in his soul, since this was shown to be the greatest of evils. That is plain. And second in order surely is he who is delivered from it. Apparently. And we found this was the man who is abolished and rebuked and punished. Yes. Then this life is most unhappy who is afflicted with evil and does not get rid of it. Then his life is most unhappy who is afflicted with evil and does not get rid of it. Evidently. And is not this just the man who does the greatest wrong and indulges in the greatest injustice and yet contrives to escape admonition, correction, or punishment? The very condition you describe as achieved by Archelaus and other tyrants, orators, and potentates. It seems so. For what these have contrived, my good friend, is pretty much as if a man afflicted with the most grievous ailments should contrive not to pay to the doctors the penalty of his sins against his body by submitting to treatment, because he is afraid, like a child, of the pain of cautery or surgery. Do you not agree? I do. He is evidently ignorant of the meaning of health and physical fitness. For apparently, as our recent admissions prove, those who escape punishment also act much in the same way, Polus. They see its painfulness but are blind to its benefit and know not how much more measurable than a union with an unhealthy body is a union with a soul that is not healthy but corrupt and impious and evil, and so they leave nothing undone to avoid being punished and liberated from the greatest of ills, providing themselves with money and friends and the highest attainable powers of persuasive rhetoric. But if we have been right in our admissions, Polus, do you see the results of our argument, or shall we sum them up together? This actually might be a good place to do some active imagination or some visualization. I can't remember what John calls it. Because in my mind, the image of a man or a woman corrupted in soul, knowing it, but so afraid of pain that he or she refuses any correction, any treatment. It's very vivid, I see it. Someone greatly fearful, shaking in fear, and hiding behind a pile of money. Hiding behind barricades. Hiding behind a closed heart. Now the image of a heart comes to my mind that is encapsulated like a nut, walnut. I see the closed walnut, but inside there's like this goo, this mush that festers in a wound. And the only way to get that out is to break open the nut. But the owner of the nut, the heart in which beats in the body in which the heart beats, is so afraid of breaking open his heart that he chooses rather to have it fester. Socrates speaks. Is not our conclusion then that injustice and the doing of wrong is the greatest of evils? Evidently. And it was shown that punishment rids us of this evil, apparently. If we're lucky, I want to add. and open. And when punishment is evaded, the evil abides. Yes. Then wrongdoing itself holds the second place among evils. But first and greatest of all evils is to do wrong and escape punishment. So it seems. Now did we not differ, my friend, about this very point, when you maintained that Archelaus was happy because he remained unpunished despite the enormity of his crimes, whereas I was of the contrary opinion that Archelaus, or any other man or woman, I added that, who escapes punishment for his or her misdeeds must be miserable far beyond all other men, and that invariably the doer of wrong is more wretched than his victim, and he who escapes punishment than he who is punished. Was not that what I was saying? Yes. And has it not been proved that this is true? Clearly. Well then, if this is true, Polus, what great use is there in rhetoric? So they're returning to the original question. Our recent admission shows, do they not, that a man must take every precaution not to do wrong, since he would thereby suffer great harm? Certainly. But if he or any one of those for whom he cares has done wrong, he ought to go on his own accord where he will most speedily be punished, to the judge as though to a doctor, in his eagerness to prevent the distemper of evil from becoming ingrained and producing a festering, there it is, and incurable ulcer in his soul. There you go. Apparently I still remember it from a year ago. So what comes to mind here, we know this, we all feel this. Hence the Catholic sacrament, I think it's one of the sacraments, the confession of sins, an abolition. We have this deep desire to cleanse our soul as we clean our bodies. Where do we go to clean our souls in this day and age? Or what else can we say, Polus, if our previous admissions hold good? Must it not be true that only in this, and in no other way, can you present views to be in harmony with what we said before? I see on my next page I mark something as NB. Curious to get to that. What else indeed can we say, Socrates? I think I'm going to stop early today. It seems like a natural break. And dialogue. Have a beautiful day.